Hey everyone, we are on the home stretch. This is going to be our last video. So what we're going to do is down here, we're going to prepare a T account to determine whether factory overhead was over or under applied. Okay, so let's look at what we did to factory overhead. On the last page, we debited factory overhead for $250,000. That was our actual factory overhead. So I'm just going to type actual here and 250,000. I'm going to just move myself and we're going to align this so that it looks better. All right. All right. So we've got actual factory overhead of 250,000. Then we applied factory overhead. This was our credit right here of 243,400. All right. So then when we sum up factory overhead, and we're going to do this with, where's my thing? Here we go. When we sum it up, we end up with a debit balance in factory overhead of $6,600. All right, this account we need to zero out at the end of every period. In a perfect world, if we were really precise accountants, we would figure out like, well, how much of that should go back into WIP versus versus finished goods, and probably some of it goes into cost of goods sold. If this is a big amount, we will do that. We will go through that exercise, but it's not, right? I mean, our total costs were almost $7 million. We're talking about 6,600 here. Okay, this is very immaterial. And as managerial accountants, we don't have to follow US GAAP, but if it makes our life easier, you can bet we will. Okay, so the materiality concept says that we don't have to be super precise if it's just too small of a number, and this is too small of a number. So what we're going to do is we're going to write this whole thing off to COGS. We're just going to expense it, and then our factory overhead account will be zero for the next period. So we are going to prepare the T account or the JE to zero out our factory overheads. We're going to have a debit and we're going to have a credit. So we have a debit balance in factory overhead. That means we have underapplied factory overhead. We had $250,000 in indirect costs that we needed to get into the production cycle, and we actually only moved $243,400 into the production cycle. So we've underapplied our factory overhead. We have a debit balance. We want this to be zero, so we're going to credit factory overhead for $6,600. Okay. So if we have to credit factory overhead to zero it out, then we will debit COGS. So basically, we're going to add to our expense. We're going to add that $6,600 to expense, and then this account will be zero. If it was the other way, let me just use another example, and we'll copy this over so I don't have to retype it. If our applied was actually $255,000, then we would have a credit balance of $5,000, and then our journal entry would need to debit. This would be called over applied. We've put too much into the production cycle, more than our actual expenses were. Okay, this is what we put in the production cycle. This is our actual expenses. If this was the case, then we would debit factory overhead to zero this out, and we would credit COGS, and we would reduce expense by $5,000 if we had overapplied. Because basically this means we put more costs in production than we actually had. We only had $250,000. We put $255,000 into production. Whereas over here, we had $250,000 of actual costs, but we only put $243,000 into production, which means we did not put enough expense or enough cost into production. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this so it's not confusing, but I just wanted you to see it both ways. All right, and then calculate total sales, COGS, and gross profit for the period. We already did that. We're ahead of things. All right, guys, this is the last video. Thank you very much again for sticking with me. I know this has been a long unit. Next unit, module 5, is going to be probably a little bit shorter, and then it's probably going to get long again in module 6. Okay, so I'm trying not to have them be super long back to back, but we're in the thick of things, guys. It's going to be, we got a lot to talk about. So this is probably not too far from representative of what you're going to see. So however long it took you this week to get through this, maybe kind of just plan on that going forward. All right. See you in module 5. Bye.